want to come here today and I want to, hopefully, in what amounts to being the least self-centered way possible, think about myself a little bit, and more accurately think about the way that I think about things. I come here every day in Paint Talk and I think about a topic or a question or something going on, and I try to give like a take on it. I mean, sometimes, most of the time, it's less of a take and more of just doddering thoughts for 15 minutes, and you guys can kind of take what you want, but that's what I aim to do. Something that I think is a little bit less explicit, but many of you have pointed out to me in DMs and comments, is something that is intentional by design, that I don't want to just have like thoughts on things. I want to have like a worldview, you know? Eventually. I'm well aware that coming here and doing Paint and Talk for 145 days now is not going to be the thing that gives me a worldview, you know? It's going to take years of reading and experiencing life and all these things, but I think having a more well-defined worldview is important because I don't want to have just a collection of thoughts. I want to have a framework that I can look at those thoughts. I do think that, and I mean, maybe this is me overanalyzing people a little bit too much, a trap that I see people fall into a lot is like, they have a bunch of thoughts. Many of them can be great and correct, but I feel like it's almost like they don't have like a connecting tissue, gross way to put it, between those thoughts. And I think that's actually an issue that I face a lot. You know, sitting where I am now, I feel like all I have is just a collection of guiding principles and not actually a way to look at those principles in comparison to topics and ideas and evaluate them. You know, what do I actually think about things? I actually, and this is at fear of sounding pretentious, a type of Paint Talk, kind of not shifting gears, but like a little side note here, a type of Paint Talk that I've tried to do a lot less of is Paint Talk where I'm talking about the way that many people look at things, because I think it's really hard for me to not do those without sounding, you know, if I come here and say a lot of people lack a coherent worldview, the implication of that is that I have a coherent worldview and am saying these people also need to develop it, right? What I'm trying to do is not that, though, and I don't want it to come across that way, which is why I'm doing this little caveat here. I want to make sure that I don't come across that way, because one, that's bad. I just don't, I don't want to come across that way because it's an annoying way to come across, but also because I think that's kind of a bastardization of my own point. And this goes back to the worldview thing, right? Since I do lack that worldview, when I make a point or have an idea, I think it's really easy for that idea to get away from me, because I miss the point of my own idea. When I'm not able to put my thoughts into a bigger puzzle, they just end up being puzzle pieces. And then, almost like if you take a bunch of puzzle pieces from different puzzles and put them all together, you're going to end up with a ton of gaps, or some that just don't fit together in general. And, when you have a bunch of gaps, it's easier for people, or yourself, more often I think, to rip said puzzle apart. And that's why I want to make sure that I don't come across as if I'm saying that I have this and other people don't. I don't have a coherent enough worldview. I'm trying to develop a worldview, and I think by being aware of the problem, it does force me to evaluate my own thoughts in a tiny bit of a different way, but I'm not going to act like I don't have the problem. I lack as coherent of a worldview as I could have, and that's why I'm here talking about it. If anything, perhaps I would give myself, maybe I'm slightly more self-aware of the problem because, well, I think I am, as egotistical as that might sound, because I don't know. I don't see many people talking about this. I feel like this is a topic that, I feel like people are so focused on having something smart sounding to say that they don't think about being a smart person. And once again, this is a tougher Paint Talk to execute than I'm used to, because I'm scared of sounding like I think I'm above or, high and mighty. I'm not a smart person, and I actually don't even think I say things that sound that smart, but I want to be, you know what I mean? And to do that, I think it takes a very I think it takes a really, not painful, I don't know. I had a professor once tell me that improvement takes a painful amount of self-awareness, and I don't think that's the case. I think it's frustrating because you have to find things within yourself to fix, and nobody likes doing that, you know what I mean? Like, in the same way that if I were to take one of you and be like, here's everything that's wrong with you, nobody enjoys doing that to themselves either. But I do think it takes like a critical lens on yourself that many people don't want to have, myself included, you know? I think we're all a narcissist in the sense, perhaps narcissist isn't the right word, I think we're all egotistical in the sense that, you know, we like our own thoughts because they're ours. I think that makes enough sense. I think it's probably not even that bad of a thing, but in order to make those thoughts good, you gotta like look at them with a really critical eye. And one of the places, getting to actually some meat here, one of the places that I found that I really do lack this more well-defined worldview is in like my boundaries. I think over the last years of my life, I've put a lot of work into questioning my own beliefs, which is great. I think if you're somebody watching this who doesn't do that, I highly recommend that. I think it's not only important, but I think it's essential, especially with the amount of misinformation out there right now. Questioning your own beliefs is really important, I think. I think it's great. And I'm happy I've done it over the last couple of years. And I'll even go as far as saying I think I've done an okay job at it. But I think on top of that, I think I've been left in this state now where I've accepted some facts of like, I don't know what I believe, but I also don't feel like I can believe anything. Does that make sense? Like, I think that I've freed my mind from some things I'm happy I've done, right? I think I freed it from things like, maybe some of the uglier sides, like prejudice, things like that. Like, I think I have worked on those areas of my mind that I was more like, maybe implicit about, you know? But, like, I think I've also, at the same time, in being like, no, I shouldn't judge other people, you know, like, things that are as simple as, like, this is such a cringy example, but, like, when I was younger, I would think, like, furries are really weird or whatever, which is not a very uncommon take. I should actually take some time to say, we have a bizarre amount of furries that watch Pink Talk. I've noticed this. Shout out to you guys. Over the years, the point is, I used to be like, these guys are so weird, and now, obviously, I don't care. I don't judge as much, you know what I mean? Like, I've caused myself to be a less judgmental person, because, like, my thought process is always like, well, like, I'm not the perfectly happy person I want to be. Why would I judge somebody else if I don't have the way to get there? You know what I mean? Like, if that's working for them, I'm totally okay with that. I think it's left me in a state where I'm not good enough at, like, I think I'm too open now. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about the fact that I just talked about furries for the last couple minutes, and it's really throwing me for a loop because I never thought I'd be doing that here. Shout out to you furries. What do furries want to be called? Like, I'm genuinely asking this. I hope this doesn't sound like I'm making fun of furries. Furries are kind of the butt of a lot of jokes, right? So I don't want to sound like that. I've watched one or two of the furries videos, and you guys are awesome. You guys are really cool. Shout out to the furries for sure. But, like, what, like, is the respectful term for a furry? Because, like, I don't know, furry sounds like a little bit like, I feel like I'm, like, being derogatory. Maybe it's just because I've heard so many people make fun of furries. I don't know. I think I need to have, like, an episode where I bring on a furry and, like, interview them, for the furry community, because I think, like, I don't know, is there such thing as being an ally to the furry community? Because I think I am at this point. Shout out furries. I hope people are going to misconstrue this and think I'm making fun of furries. I'm not. I actually have a lot of respect for the furries. Yeah, I should get off the topic of furries now. I don't know what I'm still doing here. A place that I found that this problem exists is in this thing called the paradox of prejudice I was looking at and reading up on the other day, right? It's basically this idea that if you are like 100% person who is not paradox of prejudice, oh my god, paradox of tolerance. Forget that I just said prejudice. Completely get that out of your mind. I don't know where that came from. Maybe it was a Freudian slip because I was thinking about how I used to be prejudiced against furries. Is that the term you used? I don't know. this is going terribly. But back to the paradox of tolerance, right? It's this idea that if you are 100% tolerant person, like I consider myself to be at this point, I think I have like a free-flowing enough thought, and I'm open enough where I feel like I'm 100% tolerant person. You also need to be tolerant to intolerance, right? And if you're 100% tolerant and you're going to be 100% tolerant to intolerance, eventually intolerance will win. Does that make sense? Like, if I'm 100% open, I'm like, I don't care what people believe. I'm fine with them believing whatever they want, right? I would eventually get to the stage where I'm coming up against like a racist or something, and I'd have to be like, I am tolerant of you being racist. And now the problem is that's not gonna fly because that racist isn't a tolerant person. They're gonna be intolerant to me eventually, because believe it or not, I am half Puerto Rican. That's real. I'm half Puerto Rican, so this racist will sniff that out and be like, I'm intolerant to you because, you know, I'm a white supremacist or whatever this guy is, and this hypothetical I've made, right? So what do you do about that? Because now, if he's intolerant to me, I can't be tolerant to anybody because this guy's, I don't know, chasing me down or whatever. Like, this won't work. For those asking, not asking, nobody's asking me, but I feel like I should clarify because I said I'm 50% Puerto Rican. I am. I'm pretty sure there are white people in Puerto Rico though, or something. I don't know. I'm clearly white. Like, I'm not one of those guys that's like, I'm not white. Like, I'm very much a white guy. But like, I'm 50% Puerto Rican, and I don't know how that works. So shout out to the Puerto Ricans watching, and shout out to me for being Puerto Rican. But this is the paradox that I feel like so many of my thoughts are getting caught in right now, because I'm in this place where it's like, I am 100% tolerant, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm like tolerant to racists. Like, I'm not scrolling and seeing like racists online and being like, yeah, these guys are great, I don't mind. Like, I'm definitely not there, but I am like at least apathetic to a point where I don't know, like, I know the logical lines of thought that I've used to become an open person, but I feel like I need to discover the logical lines of thought to put up boundaries around that openness to make sure, like, where is the perfect medium of tolerance where I can make sure I'm remaining 100% tolerant while not leaving any room for intolerance to take that over. That's where I think I lack. That's like, I think, a big missing puzzle piece to my worldview. I'm not gonna say the missing puzzle piece because that would be ignorant, right? I'm sure once I figure this problem out, if I ever figure it out, there's gonna be 10 right behind it, right? But this is the thing I've been thinking about a lot right now as to why my thoughts aren't ever as coherent as I want them to be, because I don't know what it means to stop. And I think that's a big problem. Stop being tolerant, not like stop, like I'm not a drug addict or anything. Now it sounds like I'm a drug addict trying to cover it up. This has been crazy, guys. I feel like I'm very scared to upload this because I think I've made the furries mad. I don't know. Like, what is it like? Like, because I feel like everybody's always talking bad about the furries. So is it like nice that I'm like, even though I'm like somewhat insensitive to my furry rhetoric, is it still nice? I shouldn't be worried about this. This isn't a real issue. I think people are also not going to believe I'm 50% Puerto Rican. I've been really scared to say it. So hopefully hopefully people accept that. Believe it or not, I did once meet a guy who was racist to me because of that, which is the most insane thing ever, right? Like, it was in a hostel once I was in London, and he was like he was talking to me or whatever, and then like when he asked where I was from, and I said like I'm half German, half Puerto Rican. I'm sure everybody believes I'm German. I don't think there's gonna be any questions about that. And then he got real racist because he was like, oh, you're Puerto Rican, which is just crazy. Because it's like, if you're that racist, like how do you even function? Like how do you're only hanging out with like Western Europeans? Like, how does that even work? I guess in Europe it's easier to do that than in America. I don't know. The idea of somebody being like that insanely racist in America is just like, as somebody that's been living in New York, I should say, I can't even like comprehend that. Because it's like, how do you even, like, if I feel like a white supremacist in New York City would just be like a man scared on the street. Because like I don't think there's a single, like, 100% white person that I've ever met in my life. So, yeah, sorry guys. I feel like today I probably sparked something of a race war, and that's probably not good, but, you know, hey, some days you do that, and, I think the furries are the only thing that can save us that are watching this, so thank you very much for that, furries. Shout out to you. I want to see my furries going off in the comments. This is the painting. I like this, I think. I don't like the blue, but I like the red, and I like the construction of the figure, and I think it's the right amount of deconstructed. So I like that. I like this guy a good amount. I think this is solid. I think this is a step in the right direction from what I was trying to do yesterday. So, yeah. Later, or no, today actually, yeah, today there will be a short up, or no. Will I have this out today? I don't know, guys. Might be tomorrow. I'll be real. It's probably going to be tomorrow. I feel like I got in 20 side tangents today. I'm just thinking about how bad this episode probably is. But I gotta stop doing that too. That's something I keep doing. Just full disclosure, because the people watching right now are probably people who are here more often. If you're still watching at this point, thank you so much. That's awesome. I don't know how you're doing that. But like, I always get in my head about these episodes while I'm filming them. Like, I'll be like, oh, like, this isn't, like, let's say I start messing up, like, midway through, I'll be like, this is just the worst episode ever, and then it just keeps going downhill because I'm in my head. That didn't happen so much today. Like, today, I don't think this was great. I think I got caught on some side tangent about furries a lot, but yesterday and the day before that, I totally think that was, like, some off days. But, yeah, I mean, you know, it's daily, you win some, you lose some, what can I say? What was I talking about? Oh, go check out the Instagram. There'll be a reel up today or tomorrow showing all the paintings from the last week, along with a post of them from the last week. I didn't upload last week's paintings, and they're not going to be going up. Sorry. That just didn't happen. And since I'm only doing a post a week now, like, if it doesn't happen, it really just won't happen. So I'm eventually going to, maybe later this year, maybe early next year, because we're already halfway through the year. So probably later this year, I'll try to do it. I want to do like maxdice.com or whatever and have like a full catalog of all the paintings up so people can really go back and see every single one if they want to. Because I don't want to post daily on the Instagram the paintings anymore because I'm just spamming feeds at that point. But yeah, eventually there'll be a website or something. And this is, of course, today's painting. So yeah, go check out the Instagram for the reel with today's painting. And until next time, sorry about this episode. Guys, gals, and pals. My name is Max Dice. This has been Paint and Talk episode 145. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.